Chris, tell us about your business and how it makes money.
We are a landscaping and pool company located in North Carolina, and our main source of revenue is landscape construction and pool construction.
I see. And how long have you been in the business?
This will be our 7th year in business.
I see. And what are the business goals that you have set up? Like, do you have like 3-year goals or 5-year goals?
So we have a 7-year goal of a $25 million valuation, 3-year goal of $10 million in revenue. I don't currently have anything 5 right now. That's kind of been a moving target here of the late.
Okay, so 10 million in revenue in 3 years, correct?
Correct.
And where are you right now?
Right now, 2026, projecting around 4.
4 million projecting. And what was the revenue number for 2025?
Right at 3.
3 million. Okay. All right. Perfect. So you're a landscaping and pool construction company. You want to hit 10 million in revenue in 3 years, right? Last year you did 3 million. Tell me how you're acquiring customers right now.
Honestly, it has primarily been entirely word of mouth. We have spent, in 7 years in business, I've spent less than $10,000 in any marketing or ad spend. And most of that $10,000 came from, we wrap all our trucks and we do some yard signs. And that's been it up to this point.
So only 10K in ad spend. That's pretty impressive. Very impressive. 100% word of mouth. So how did you get the initial set of customers that kind of like snowballed this word of mouth for you?
Honestly, for us, it was getting into the right neighborhoods. And, you know, we're primarily residential. We do offer and do commercial work as well, but we're heavy residentially based. And you get into these right neighborhoods that are typically more affluent neighborhoods, and you do a great job for 1 or 2 people. And man, there's certain neighborhoods. I mean, it's any given day, I'll have 2 or 3, 4 crews all in the same neighborhood working various projects.
But how did you did you do door knocking, or how did you get those initial set of customers?
Yeah, lots of door knocking, lots of cold calling. Wouldn't necessarily, target residential homeowners per se, but I would target other trade businesses. Like I would call HVAC businesses, and general contractors are a big one. Say, hey, we're a new landscape company. We've been in business for X, blah, blah, blah. And, would love if you would give us a chance to, show you what we can do.
I see what you're saying. So you did B2B, business to business outreach. You reached out to like HVAC companies and other like local services that are adjacent to like landscaping and pool construction, and you asked them, oh, well, do you know anyone? Like, how did you have that conversation? Like, did you make an offer to them? Like you'll give them some of the referral kickback, or like what was the offer?
Yeah, so we've kind of done a little bit of everything. Certainly have done kickback programs, a lot of general contractors, hey, we can take care of your property for free if you can get me a couple referrals. Just, any sort of value add that we can give them out of the gate. And in those early years, I didn't really have a lot of value other than free labor, to be frank. So like, hey, let me go, clean up your personal property and kind of show you what we can do if you can, get us on a couple of these new installs on new homes that they're building. That was probably the main one. And then honestly, some of it, we were fortunate enough, I had some friends or maybe some family friends that we knew already. And it was just kind of cold calling them and saying, hey, this is what I'm starting to do. You got any projects for me?
I see. That's really interesting. So B2B outreach, when you were talking to these HVAC companies and other construction companies, you were essentially offering free labor. That was essentially the offer, right? You'll be like, oh, I'll do the pool construction for you, and you help me hook up with your customers. Is that how the conversation went?
Yeah. So I'm going to put a little context in there. When I first started, we were just doing landscaping. The pool construction has been an add-on that we've only been doing for about 12 months. So yeah, like we would offer the smaller projects, like, yeah, I can mulch the house that you live in, or I can prune all your shrubs or mow the grass for free. That's kind of your referral, because at the startup phase, I didn't have any monetary value to give them. I didn't have any cash on hand. So that was the one thing I could trade, and it snowballed fairly well.
And when you first started, were you doing it by yourself, or did you have help with you?
No, it was just me for probably the first 6 to 8 months. And then it was, some high school buddies. And I think it was probably year 2 before I had, my first W-2 employee. And I think right now we're around 28 full-time employees.
Oh, wow. So you are in what year are you in right now?
We're entering year 7.
Year 7. Okay. So year 7, you are at 22 employees. That is impressive. Okay. So let me try to understand this. So you started with like this free labor offer. You got some work, and then through word of mouth, you grew. And then at what point did you decide you're like, okay, I can afford my first hire? Like, what was the thought process, and what was the math behind that decision making?
I'll be honest with you, Abby, there probably wasn't any math at that time and point. There was a lot of gut feeling, but really for me, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm looking at, maybe, I don't even remember. It was probably a month's worth of work or 2 months worth of work or 3 months worth of work booked out. And I'm thinking, okay, these people aren't going to wait that long. They're going to find somebody else. So I need to hire somebody just solely not to make more money, not to do a better job, just solely to work faster. That's just kind of how naive I was at the time. And frankly, just kept doing that. And, and that's kind of started the general rule of thumb is like, we like our project based work. We like to be about 90 days out, meaning when somebody cold calls in, we do a site visit, send them an estimate, get approved. We like to have about a 2 to 3 month cushion of work. If that, backlog starts expanding past that point, we look at two things. We look at, okay, can the market sustain a price increase? Or, once we start exceeding that 3 month backlog, then we need to probably make sure the math works and start adding employees.
So when someone calls in, can you give me the customer journey? Like someone calls Chris's company, right? Oh, I need help with landscaping. What is like how like talk me through the customer journey on how the lead gets nurtured, and the schedule for the site visit and the actual work done. Like how quickly are you responding to leads? Like let's start with that.
So when somebody cold calls the office, they're going to reach one of my CSRs. That CSR is going to go through everything. We do a lot of cross training with them. That CSR has got access to whoever's selling the job, so to speak, the salesman, they got access to their calendar. So that site visit is ideally getting booked on that initial phone call and ideally getting booked within 48 hours. Frankly, I'd like to shrink that timeline, but that's kind of where we're at. So
Right.
within 48 hours of calling, we're on site. And then depending on the complexity of the project, but within reason, we like to have a emailed estimate in their email inbox within 24 hours of the site visit attached, or having a Loom video attached to that as well. So you're still kind of getting that face-to-face interaction and you're able to walk them through every step of that estimate that you've just sent them.
Right. If someone calls in, I call in at 9 a.m. Eastern. When am I getting the call back? I leave a voicemail.
If you leave a voicemail, you should be getting a call back within 5 to 10 minutes.
5 to 10 minutes. Okay. All right. So your speed to leads is like 5 minutes. Because in our business, what we saw was our like embarrassingly enough, our speed to lead was like 4 hours. And we were losing so many customers. Like we didn't even know because we had no idea what we were doing. We went through sales training, we went through like a lot of business training, and the number one constraint in our business, what we found was, just if we can bring the speed to lead down to 60 seconds, it like dramatically increases the chances of conversion. So that's like the biggest shift we saw in our business. I mean, I wrote a book about this, like the land business, which is like a principles based business. It's not a how to book. And one of the principles I talk about, like speed, speed to lead being a competitive advantage. The other thing I talk about, which helped our business a lot, was availability. Availability being a competitive advantage. So what does that mean? So we used to have like 30-minute slots, like, we do like appointment setting. So we would have a setter offshore, set up the appointments, and then we'll have the closer in the US do the closings. So we used to have 30-minute blocks, right? Oh, you can book at 11 a.m. or 11:30 a.m., right? And we used to keep it compressed. We're like, oh, we don't want to open it up like for the whole day. We don't want to make it seem like, oh, we have too much availability. So we like artificially compressed it. Oh, you can book from like 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. or something, right? And that was like completely dumb in retrospect, because we want to make sure that there's like as much availability as possible for the customer, because the customer might be busy, like they have jobs, they have like schedules and stuff. So we opened it up, we actually did it like 15-minute intervals, so that like doubled the availability, right? Because we went from 30 to like 15. So that helped a lot. So that's the reason I was like asking. So if you're doing like 10-minute, even if your speed to lead is 10 minutes, if you can get it reduced to 60 seconds, you should see a bump in conversions. Um, Tell me about your availability. Are you doing like all 7 days? That was the other thing. We were doing like Monday through Friday, and weekends we would like keep it off, but we expanded it all 7 days. We hired extra setters, and that helped as well. So, how does your availability look like?
That's a pain point for me, Abby. Right now we're Monday through Friday. It's 5 days a week. It's 8 to 5:30.
Mm,
Um, Going into what we call our busy season, which is spring, which we're coming up on, we will set appointments on Saturdays if needed. If the customer, we do a lot of second home, vacation home, stuff like that.
yeah.
But right now, no, it's just going to a voicemail, and that's something that we're exploring, even if it's just like a VA or an answering service, because that really frustrates me. We typically won't have anything crazy amount of volume on the weekends, but
Still
typically, I
lost
mean, it can
revenue,
be.
right?
You got it. You got it.
Yeah. Yeah. So there are services like Pat Live and other, services like that where they will basically be your off call support. Um, so you call them, and so essentially a customer calls you, and instead of routing it to your office, they will route it to like a call center. This is US based. And you're paying them per call or per minute, depending on what kind of package you get. And then so the customer is essentially like a setter. They're like, oh yeah, the technician or whatever, or the contractor is not available right now, they're out working. I can, and they get their information. I can have, set an appointment, like either a Zoom call or in your case a site visit, right? So they have access to your sales guys calendars. And then yeah, and then you're essentially getting like, you're like 24/7 shop, so people can call like 2 in the morning, and then you're only paying when someone calls. And if it's like a spam caller, they don't charge for that, right? I think that seems like an obvious improvement, especially since you're trying to go from like 4 million or like 3 million to like 10 million, right? So you're trying to capture more and more of the market, right?
Right.
What
No,
what
that's
are
a
your
great.
thoughts?
Yeah, that's yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, that's what was the name of that exact service?
It's called Pad Live. Um, and then there's another one. I'm blanking on it. I think it's called Smith AI. Yeah. So those are the two services we have used in the past. Depending on whether you want to pay per call or you want to pay per minute, depending on how long the calls are. For us, we started with paying per minute, but then we realized lot of our customers are like older and they like to talk. Sometimes they'll like talk for like 15 minutes, and it was like, oh, I'll see my bill at the end of the month. I was like, oh, this is not good. So we switched to per call. The thing with per call is, though, you have to define a scope. So you're essentially giving them like list of questions. So the operator forces the conversation to just those questions. Because in any conversation, whoever is asking the question is kind of like controlling the conversation, right? So
Right.
they will ask you for a list of questions, and it will force the prospect to answer based on those questions. And that keeps kind of like the call volume manageable. So they don't charge per minute, they will charge per call. And for us, that came out to be cheaper. So that's the reason we switched. So that would be one obvious room for improvement on the conversion side. Because I'm guessing the goal. So tell me this, right? So you have this goal, getting from 3 million to 10 million. Are you thinking in terms of capturing more of the market in your immediate neighborhood? Or are you thinking of um, offering more services to existing customers and the new customers coming in?
So a little bit of expanding our reach in our current market, and not so much on that offering any more services. We're already a little bit wider, frankly, than I'd like us to be as far as service offerings. It's really opening up satellite locations. So like we've already started, we've opened up two right now, kind of smaller, very small satellite branches. And it's going to be basically, I think, in our home market, so to speak. It's based on very minimal research, but I think with what we offer, we're probably going to start maxing out around the 6 to 7 million range, and we're going to
Hmm.
start getting outside of our region a little bit. And within an hour and a half drive time, there's three large cities that I think could support, frankly, 10 to 15 million in revenue on their own, let alone without the home market.
Right. So explain to me the satellite location. So it's essentially um like some of the people from your company are working from that location so they can service them faster. Is that the concept?
That's correct. Yes.
I see. Okay. So to summarize, you're saying the plan is to stick to landscaping. Actually, I have a question before that. Why did you expand to pool construction instead of just staying focused on landscaping?
So the pool construction, that's kind of a twofold answer. Number one, it's something I've just always wanted to do, even since I was a kid. Just thought it was a really cool thing. Number two, we were constantly building patios and fire pits and outdoor kitchens right up against these brand new pools, to the point where I was actually turning away pool installs. I'd have customers say, "Yeah, we just can't seem to get a pool contractor out here. They've already got us lined up to do all the landscaping, but they can't even find anybody to build the pool."
Hmm.
So we had ended up knew that was a wide open market in our area, very little competition. We have a few people here that do it and they're good at it, but there's just not a lot of them. And kind of put some feelers out there and found a local brick and mortar store that was kind of aging out from the previous ownership, and we ended up acquiring that about a year ago.
I see. And I'm guessing you got the talent. Did you already know how to construct a pool, or did you acquire the talent and that kind of like brought in the knowledge?
I acquired the talent.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. So the plan. So to summarize, going back to the earlier segment that we talked about, what the plan is to scale to 10 million. You're going to expand the region, right? You're going to keep on going the radius, right? That keeps on growing, right? So you can
Correct.
inherit more and more customers, correct?
That's that's the thought. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about your marketing. So right now, you mentioned 100%. This is very impressive, by the way. I mean, just for context, how pathetic our referral rate is. We're at 15%. So the fact that you are at 100% word of mouth is like extremely impressive to me. Because like I wish we were at like 40. I can't even imagine 100. So the fact that you're 100% word of mouth is impressive at this stage, but are you thinking in terms of getting to 10 million, 25 million? Would you have to diversify the marketing channels? And how are you thinking about those?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I love that 100% number, and that's great. And, it's kind of a feel good thing. But one thing I noticed in really the last 6 months of 2024 and all of 2025 was the lead flow that was coming in would sustain the, 2.5, 3 million gross revenue sales. And that was it. We weren't getting enough to really go past that number. And I really attribute that to zero marketing. So our current approach to marketing is something we just started doing about 6 weeks ago. We had our website totally revamped. We're also doing the same thing with the pool company website. I actually had a meeting with that today. We're focusing on Google reviews and social media and trying to basically build that social proof. So when somebody, Googles landscaping companies near me or pool companies near me, not only do we populate at the top of the page, but we're also sitting on hopefully at least 100 plus Google reviews, testimonials, testimonial videos, things of that nature. So not only are we top of their search list, but we're also like, wow, this company's got 100 plus ecstatic customers, so maybe we should hire them.
Right. Right now, how many testimonials do you have?
Testimonial videos we just started. I think I've got two, maybe. So
Hmm.
that's been like the last 2 3 weeks, and I think we're between the two companies. I think we're 90 Google reviews maybe.
90 reviews. Okay. And these, are you incentivizing your customers into leaving reviews, or are these like all organic because you did such an awesome job?
These have been all organic so far. Um, it is getting a little bit tougher to get them at the rate that we were getting them without some sort of incentive attached.
Yeah. I think it would help, like if maybe a gift card or some kind of a kickback or something like valuable, because it, whenever you're asking for, I mean, this is a problem we had to deal with as well, because no one likes leaving reviews unless you give them some kind of incentive. Because we literally, people will say, oh yeah, I love you guys, we'll buy land from you again. And then we're like, oh yeah, that's great to hear, would you mind leaving a testimonial? Of course, yeah, I will leave. And then they'll never never leave the testimonial, right?
Yeah,
And then we
yeah,
started giving like gift cards and credits toward like store credit. And then all of a sudden, oh yeah, of course, how much is the credit? $250. All right, fine, I'll be done tomorrow, right? So you like it's so what I learned, what we learned, referral, like when you're asking for a referral, it's essentially an offer, right? The reason you were able to grow so quickly with like almost $0 in marketing spend is because you had a good offer, right? You were like, actually, let's talk about that. Tell me about your exact offer, right? Obviously there was a huge demand, right? And then there was supply constraint, and then you came in and you did a good job. Clearly you're doing a good job for them to refer out. But tell me about your offer. Um, like I talk about this in my book as well, like a principle that a good offer needs to feel risk free for the customer. It needs to feel easy, and it needs to feel fast, like you can deliver quickly. Or have you used any of those components? Did you offer any guarantees? Did you offer any money back? Did you offer like something, a quick turnaround? Talk to me about the offer.
yeah. So we really offered kind of all three of those guarantees in some shape or form. The biggest thing that helped us land a couple of probably my first larger contracts were, look, I know this project is getting bidded out with all these big companies. We're a smaller company, so if you award us the bid, you're going to be our very tip top priority. Like you're going to be our biggest versus if company XYZ wins the bid, you're just going to be a number on a spreadsheet. I noticed that one a lot, quite a bit, just kind of making them feel important. Number two was the guarantees, and we still kind of play around with this today, but offering warranties on our work, warranties on plant material, warranties on sod, things of that nature. A lot of companies won't do that, and it's bitten us before, but not if you word it correctly. So that kind of takes a lot of their risk out of it. And then also, again, being a smaller company, we probably have a less of a backlog than some of these more established companies. So instead of waiting 6 months, 9 months, 10 months for your project, well, we can get to it in a couple of weeks.
Hmm.
So it's kind of taking advantage of those things that a smaller startup business can do, that speed and that flexibility. You got to take
Yeah.
advantage of those.
Yeah. Tell me about you said the warranties bitten you in the past. Uh, can you give us an example?
Yeah, so it's really just kind of some contract verbiage, and it's some things that we've revised since then. But uh, offering any sort of warranty on any living specimen, plant material,
Hmm.
sod, seeds, anything like that. We've kind of stepped away from that now, and the only way that I'll warranty anything like that longer than 30 days is if you have us install an irrigation system as well. Because
Hmm.
I do the analogy like it's a baby. If you don't feed and water that baby dies, and that's gruesome, but it's no different than that, quote unquote baby shrub that we just installed. If you completely
Hmm.
ignore it for a month, then yeah, it's going to die. It's nothing anybody did wrong. You didn't water it.
Right. Okay. Did you offer any sort of like money back guarantee if it didn't meet the quality standards or anything?
We never offered any money back guarantee. It was just a repair and replace guarantee.
Okay. All right. So going back to the original thought, you had this great offer. You're offering warranties. You're offering fast work. You're playing the small business angle. We're a small business, and we're gonna give you high priority, right? So all these things worked, right? And you were able to secure more referrals, and that kind of like snowballed. Now that you are becoming a medium sized company, how are you thinking about the offer? Because obviously you cannot guarantee fast timelines anymore, right? Like you used to. So how are you thinking about those challenges?
That's a great question. We still push pretty hard on the faster timeline. That's
Hmm.
frankly a risk I'm willing to take. I don't like. I think again, once we get past that 90-day backlog, some people will wait, and that's great. Most people won't. We live in an Amazon world, an
Yeah.
instant gratification world. So we still worry about that. A big thing now, kind of as we get into it's all relevant, but getting into a medium sized quote unquote business is, again, in a blue collar industry, it just seems that nobody's using technology, nobody's using AI, nobody's communicating at all, hardly. So what we're kind of been working on is like, all right, how can we upgrade our CRM software? We can utilize technology, and we're going to go sell this job. Well, we're selling this job hopefully within 72 hours of that phone call, and then collecting a scheduling deposit or material deposit or whatever that may look like. Well, I don't want that customer to not hear from us for 2 months after they've paid us 50 grand for a deposit. They're going to think we took their money and ran.
Hmm.
So that's kind of what we've been working on, is how can we utilize our existing basically software and systems and upgrade them and make sure we have just constant touch points. They're getting a weekly emailed update on, hey, your project's 1 week closer. We're still anticipating, whatever, the third week of June for construction date. And then as we get a little bit closer, it's kind of the same thing. Hey, the utility company will be out to mark all your utilities. We'll plan on seeing you in 3 weeks. If you have any questions, please call the office, et cetera, et cetera. So it's almost like over communicating,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also again still trying to have a quicker timeline than most people are going to be able to offer is the goal.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually, it's a good point. Keeping in touch with existing customers, especially like for us, it's the same scenario. Someone buys land from us, we have to record it with the county, like the deed. But we cannot control that timeline. The county might take 2 weeks, 3 weeks. There's nothing we can do. It's outside our control. So what we used to do was like, oh yeah, we sent it to the county for recording, and then we were no updates, and then when it gets recorded 3 weeks later, then we're like, oh, congratulations, here's the deed, right? But then people were like, it was fine for some customers, but other customers are like, oh, I haven't heard from you. Did you take my money and run away? Like, where exactly what you were saying, right? So then it's like, that's not good. So then we started giving like every small update. We just, any opportunity you get, we send an update. Oh, we mailed in the deed for recording. Oh, we just got a notification the package was delivered, right? And then we'll like, oh, we today we had the person from our office call the county to confirm if they received it, right? So any type of update you can give them, it's a small win. Talk about in the book, like any type of small win that you can communicate to the customer, it's like prevents them from being anxious, right? Prevents them from thinking about, because as humans, if there's no update, you like kind of like assume the worst, right? Oh, the doubts starts festering in, like, oh, what if, why haven't I heard, like, where is he, what is he doing, right? So these small wins, I would highly encourage you to do more frequently than weekly, maybe bi-weekly, right? Because then, because every time you're talking to the customers, it's also an opportunity to do upsells, cross sells, referrals, building relationships. So I think that should help. um The other question I wanted to talk about, when people, so you have these satellite offices that you mentioned earlier. Do people actually visit those, or is it just for the internal employees?
Just for internal employees. So right now, there's only currently one satellite branch. That's about an hour east of us. The other location right now, we're still to this day commuting from our primary office location, but we have that's a designated truck and crew that's going to that location, and they're commuting every day.
Okay. Talk to me about AI. You mentioned AI, you mentioned CRM. Are you using AI in any way right now?
We are. We're not utilizing it as much as I would like, but it's something we've used tremendously, especially the last few months, to help us constantly write and rewrite our SOPs, our standard operating
Mm,
procedures.
right.
As those roles kind of grow and evolve, we use it for helping us do financial analysis. We use it for benchmarking. We use it to help write comp plans. Um, Really, almost at this point, honestly, a better term would be to use it almost in a consultant form
Right.
versus more of an admin form. And I think as we continue to scale, the hope and thought is to involve it more in some of the minute tasks, and probably help us chase AR, and probably even doing some marketing outreach, but we haven't quite got to that point yet.
Mm. So AR, your augmented reality, you're thinking like, oh, how can we do like before and after without doing the work kind of thing, right?
Less on before and after, and more. I mean, yes, on that as well, but more of like design, like selling points for designs.
Mm,
So, we've got a landscape architect that we use for kind of full scale 3D renderings and 2D printings and things of that nature. But we service a lot of smaller projects. I was actually working on one today, projects that are under 30 grand, under even 20 grand. And before, the best that customer would get would be a kind of a quick sketch layout of, hey, this is what your new, planting landscape is going to look like. Well, now I can use AI and have a pretty nice little rendering in 5 or 10 minutes. And now I can shoot
mm,
that over to them. And, it really helps us sell, and it helps them get the visual.
mm. What software are you using?
It's primarily Grok. And then there's another one called Leanscaper AI, and that's green
Mm,
industry based.
I see. So Grok, you're like, what prompts are you using? Are you giving like the existing image and then you're saying, all right, like prompts, we're gonna do this, do this, do this. Give me a final output of how it will look like, and then you do this multiple times, and whatever is the closest is the one that gets sent to the customer.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. All right. Um, I wanted to double click on you mentioned 20 plus people in the team right now, right?
Correct.
So how did you, like, you started solo, right? And then you quickly grew to 20 plus. Where did you, like, where did you learn to hire and like run a team, run a company? Because it's that's a skill set in itself, right? And I'm sure there's like training involved and like, constant communication skills and sales skills and marketing skills. So tell me about the thought process you use, and where did you learn these skills?
Yeah, so they're all learned from primarily the school of hard knocks. You do it enough times incorrectly, and you start to figure out, maybe we should do it the correct way.
Yeah.
um, no, I mean, it's really just, hey, I need more people, and hey, this didn't work, so let's try this. It's the old adage. John Maxwell says it. It's the fail forward fast. So you're going to make, we made a lot of mistakes, still make them to this day, but it's every mistake's a learning opportunity. So, okay,
Mm,
that way didn't work. So let's do it this way now. There's no, at least I didn't find it. There wasn't a magic bullet or any education that I personally did to
mm,
help me with any of that. And we just kind of scaled it. One thing I did a horrible job at up until the last 12 months was I did all of it on basically on my back. I made sure, I was a production manager, I was a project manager, I was an account manager, I was, admin, all those things, did the invoicing, did everything, and I should have delegated out those tasks years ago. And that's one thing, the 2025 kind of my main focus was, okay, I've got to build a foundation. We've got to this point with basically no foundation. So we
Mm.
hired a general manager, we hired what we call a production manager, and what we call an account manager. And that has been just a game changer, frankly.
Yeah.
Um, and kind of, to this day, I'm still not sure how I did as much as I did without having those roles filled. And especially with my general manager, I really shopped. I mean, that was a role that I looked to fill for over a year, and found a gentleman from a company that was about 3 times as big as ours, because I wanted somebody
Mm.
that had been there, done that, and I pay him well.
Yeah. Give us an example of you mentioned mistakes you made in hiring and training. Give us an example, like concrete example for our audience, maybe it's something they can learn from it.
So in the startup phase, one thing I did was I hired friends and buddies. That was a big mistake. Um, Another one would be letting your emotions get involved. We've had people that have been tenured here for 3, 4+ years, and you're seeing these people more than you're seeing your own family. So you build a relationship there, but it's letting emotions get involved, and not being able to clearly see, you know, that, hey, maybe that person's no longer a fit here, and they probably need to be terminated, and just extending that relationship too long. Done that plenty of times. And all that's done is, cost the business cash and slowed down growth. And then probably hiring the wrong positions ahead of hiring the right positions, if that makes sense.
Mm. Yeah. Let's talk about the capital. So you built this um, good sized company now. How much capital did you start with, and did you have to get like business lines of credit or like friends and family? Like, tell me about like how the capital needs evolved and how you fulfill them as the company grew.
Yeah, so I started with absolutely nothing. Was fortunate enough to borrow a lawnmower and a weed eater from my father. Did that for a few months until I had enough money saved up to go buy my own.
Hmm.
I think we kind of started building credit early, with credit card, and like I'd go purchase a $500 leaf blower, on a equipment loan, so to speak, just to build credit. So kind of did that over and over. It was probably 2 years in before I could actually go buy a truck with, with credit through the business. And of course, it was a personal guarantee on that, but it was in the business name. And since then, we have used business lines of credit. One of our first acquisitions about 3 years ago was another landscaping company. Um, we were able to use a SBA loan for that.
Hmm.
And yeah, really, it's just honestly doing a lot of research. And the biggest thing is just relationships. It's just having relationships. Like, it's to the point now, it's not perfect, but if we need to go buy 2 or 3 more trucks, well, those trucks are $70,000-$80,000 a piece. So we're several $100,000 worth of trucks. It's pretty much, I can make a phone call, and I can, get that handled within a few minutes.
As in like raising capital or
Not
getting a
raising
loan?
capital. Yeah, getting the debt for it. Yeah,
Oh, I see. From like a banking relationship.
correct.
I see. So you don't have outside investors, so it's completely bootstrap, right?
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. Going back to the reviews, you mentioned, so we're thinking about this target like 10 million in revenue. So you're thinking of like getting more Google reviews, getting more social proof. You're gonna hopefully incentivize existing customers to get you more video testimonials, because that's, people are shy, right? They don't want to come on video, so you have to do some kind of an incentivization there. Have you looked at Yelp as well? Yelp reviews. What are the other things you're thinking?
Those are definitely the two main focuses. We've looked at Yelp. It's your Google My Business page, making sure that's fully optimized. Of course, having a Instagram and TikTok account that's up to date and constantly getting more content posted to that. Of course, you look at Yelp, you look at Bing, you look at everything, but that's kind of the primary focus, I guess, right now is Google and Facebook, really, and building that social proof and steering people to those, basically. And then from an
Hmm.
SEO perspective, we just, the way we've got our website set up, it constantly gets updated. Every time we do a social media post, we also push it to the website, which then
Hmm.
uses AI to write a quick blog post. And that
Yeah.
again is, kind of just pushing more SEO items, for lack of a better term, to be searched
Right.
upon.
You're doing these podcasts. What's the angle? Is it also to like kind of like chop it into like short form and do more organic marketing, or is it like capital raising? Tell me about that.
A little bit of both, I guess. Kind of going back to that same thing, that social proof, and that personal brand is trying to work on that. And again, if somebody, tries to search us online, there's actually something to search. And
Hmm.
then also kind of, the end goal here is, and I'm going to try to sound humble when I say this, but we want to be the leader in our market. We want to be the guru, so to speak, in our market. And by doing these things, that's kind of the thought, is it'll help establish that proof.
Hmm. When you say guru, are you like thinking of like kind of like educational space as well, like teaching others how to do this?
That's correct.
Oh, you are thinking of those. That will be like a third line of business.
I've certainly thought about it. I very much enjoy it. Um, I like to kind of focus on one thing at a time. But yeah, I'd be lying if I said that wasn't in the back of my head.
Okay. Is this do you have any mentees right now that you're mentoring or teaching?
No, not anyone specific. I have a lot of people, even previous employees that may be here for a year or two and then go off and start their own and call me, DM me, anything like that with constant questions. And I have no issues with that. I really enjoy. I don't want to call it giving back, but just helping, even if it's just a little bit. It's just something I enjoy.
Hmm. Have you seen any competition being created by your ex-employees leaving and starting like a similar business in your neighborhood?
No, I have not.
Why is that?
You may agree or disagree with me on this one, but it is a lot harder than people realize.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
I
just
think
running a business, or you running your specific business?
just running a business in general, I
Yeah.
think there's a lot more to it. And, they come here and or any business for that matter, they may work 40, 50 hours a week and then they go home and turn it off and get a paycheck every week.
Yeah.
And as a business owner, that's, at least for me personally, that's just not how it works.
Right.
There's, to this day, I do better than I used to, but to this day, it's 60 to 70 hours a week is average.
Yeah.
The brain never turns off. You're laying in bed at midnight trying to solve the world's problems.
Yeah.
Um, Waking up, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, same story. And I think it's just what a lot of people miss when they go and start their own thing, is they don't realize how much goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I could disagree with you, but as a business owner myself, it's like we're like constantly working. And there are certain people who just don't want to see, just don't resonate with that kind of lifestyle. So I totally hear you. Tell me about the marketing angle again. So we're trying to reach the 10 million goal. Clearly, we'll have to expand from referrals to some kind of paid advertising, even though you're focusing on a lot of organic reach, organic reviews, organic podcasting, repurposing to organic media. Are you thinking at all of using paid media, paid ads as well as one of the channels that you'll have to invest in?
Yeah, absolutely. And probably something we'll start exploring this year. Right now, and this is solely from talking to people in my circle that are in the region, obviously in other businesses, but just, kind of putting feelers out there. Hey, what's working for you guys? What's not? And honestly, right now, the biggest thing that we're seeing right now that people are having success with is physical marketing. That's billboards, benches, signage,
Hmm.
and it's just kind of, I guess, it's raising that brand awareness.
Hmm. Local, yeah, local billboards. What about direct mail? Have you looked into those?
We have. We've done it a few times, not enough to really get a good benchmark. The handful of times that we've done it, we've seen basically a 1% return.
Yeah.
So it's my experience with it probably doesn't apply correctly because everybody I've kind of spoken to on that and have done that, your best success with comes, if you basically do it and do it and do it over and over and over again. And typically by that fourth or fifth time, you'll start to see a little bit better return.
Yeah.
So it's something we've done, just not very much of.
Yeah. I'll give you an example. So I'm in Nevada, outside Vegas, and so we have so this guy like I'm guessing, I don't know, is it landscaping or not, but there's like driveway, they're like stone driveway, so the guy left like a sample stone attached to his business card uh, on our driveway. So is basically trying to say, well, it needs upgrading. So I thought that was creative. Like, you can't throw it away. Clearly effort was put in. So we like saved his card to like maybe in the future call him. So something like that. Have you looked into those like creative marketing angles?
So we've looked into doing, not necessarily that exact example, but I guess kind of, doing like door hangers with gift cards.
Hmm.
And $50 to $100 gift cards to our company that just kind
Yeah.
of incentivizes them to, one, they get immediate value, and two, is going to incentivize them to spend more money with us, because I don't think I offer a single service that I can, do for less than whatever that gift card amount's going to be. So they're going to spend money with us regardless, is the thought.
Yeah. Yeah. No, makes sense. Do you offer owner financing when like someone like say it's $20,000, they don't have it, they're like, all right, give me 2,000 now, rest can be spread across next 6 months?
We don't offer owner financing. We're exploring, actually have a meeting with the company next week to start offering some project-based financing. So when you start getting in, like I said, a lot of our pool projects are, anywhere low to mid six figures. And we want to be able to start offering more financing options on that stuff. So that's something we
Right.
kind of hope to add. But as far as owner financing, no.
Okay, so essentially you have a financing partner, they hold the debt, and you they take a percentage, right? But you get paid cash right away.
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that I was going to say that could be definitely open up your buyer pool, right? Because not everyone can afford it, but they want to get things done. And like especially for us, like in the land space, 80% of our sales are on owner financing. Like, we finance over the course of several years, and then we try to do like win money back campaigns to pull cash forward. But if we stopped offering owner financing, it will literally like cut 80% of our buyer pool. So it's big in land. So the final thing I wanted to touch on was your offer. So there's this concept I talk about it in the book. Is This is like this formula, like how do you scale, how do you make more money? So the amount of money a business makes is equal to the amount of goodwill you have in the marketplace, multiplied by the number of offers you make to your customers. So what does that mean? So say I use this cafe example. Say Chris has a cafe, Abi has a cafe. We are in a small town. A customer comes to Chris's coffee shop and they're like, oh, I would like a medium cappuccino. And Chris is like, well, we have a special going on. If you upgrade to a large, we'll give you this off. And then, and you should check out our pastries. You should check out our croissants. We have these coffee beans that just came from Costa Rica. You should take it home. Right. So on the course of this conversation, you make like 5 to 7 offers. But when the same customer comes to my shop, Abi's coffee shop, they order coffee, I serve them, and they go home. So I'm only making one offer. You are making like 6, 7 offers, right? So if there are 100 customers coming to your shop versus my cafe shop, right? You can imagine at the end of the year, your revenue numbers will be like 4x, 5x, 6x compared to my revenue numbers because you're just making so many more offers, right? So number of offers is a big thing. And but you also need goodwill in the marketplace. People need to know, just like you're doing all these podcasts, all these value add, you're building goodwill, you're building brand, you're building brand equity. So people trust you, people know who Chris is, they know Chris is not going to run away with our money, right? So that's the formula. So the question for you, clearly you're working on the goodwill piece, I can see that. But number of offers, when customers come to you, are you making any upsell offers? Are you making any cross sell or downsell offers to offer more services than they originally asked for?
Probably not. So Abby, can I pick your brain on that for a second?
Yeah, of course, of course.
So in our industry that we've just discussed, can you give me an example of what that may look like?
Okay. So say a customer wants to do a landscaping job or need some kind of landscaping, and their budget may be $5,000, right? So you go there, you're the salesperson, assuming you're talking to that customer, and you know their budget is $5,000, but you can you like, oh, it will look nice, but I also have, like, give them like a B and C option instead of just giving them option A. Right now you're using AI to give them a finished product, right? And you're like, well, I know your budget, it's $5,000, and this is the best we can do in 5,000. But if you give them option B and option C, but you could say, well, if you could spend just extra $2,000, we can do this. And for whatever reason, if you can come to like 10K, we can do this, right? So you're upselling them into a more expensive service. And then if they don't have money or whatever the case may be, then you can pitch like the owner financing or like external financing angle to get them to finance the portion of it, right? So instead of making, so in your scenario you made one offer, in my scenario I made three offers. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I don't know if I would call them offers. Maybe I should, but yeah. So we would offer that in packages. So like if I go to a site visit, and they've got a $5,000 budget, I'd say, yeah, we can absolutely do X, Y, and Z for 5,000. I said if you wanted maybe this and this, we could certainly do that, but then we're talking maybe 7,500, and then if we want to do this, we can then we're talking 10 or 12,000, and we upsell a lot on that, and I still do quite a bit of the sales for the company, typically on larger projects. But yeah, we are doing that quite a bit, frankly. It's just a
Okay.
matter of whether we can pull a budget out of them or not.
Right. I mean, I think the owner financing would help pull, right? Because it'll be like, well, you already have $5,000 for extra $200 per month for the next 3-year loan, right? You're gonna get paid right away, so it doesn't matter to you. So, like for extra $250 per month, you could get this, right? So you kind of like, you're making an additional offer with the owner financing angle. Another option would be like a complimentary service, just like you mentioned, pool. Like, oh, it kind of happened organically where the customers were kind of like asking you for an offer, and you built out this additional line of business around the pool construction, right? Like, what are the other things? Like, obviously, I don't know enough about your industry, but what are the other things people are, they have a problem that you can solve, which you can bundle in. Now here's the key part. Now here you might be thinking, oh, well, I don't want to get distracted, I don't want to, like, for example, I was just completely random thing, oh, I don't want to do their driveway, right? Like, that's not in my wheelhouse. But you could have referrals. Like, you could have like, oh, my buddy does driveways, and if you bring them this hot lead, they kick back another 15% to you. So that's like free profit for you. All you did was introduce them to your buddy, right? So that would be another offer, right? So the point of this formula, the amount of money you make is equal to goodwill times number of offers, is that the number of offers can be unlimited. Obviously, within reason, it needs to be part of the conversation. You need to add value first. You can't just offer. You're going to turn them off. That's common sense. But there's no limit, right? And then it's not just a one-time conversation either, right? As once the project completes, they're happy, make them another offer. Oh, would you like to work on this? Like, would you like to work on that? Right? Like, I'll give you a very specific example. It is adjacent to your business model. So HVAC company, right? So when we moved here in this house, the HVAC, the AC units were like 15 years old, right? So we hired like an HVAC company to do like an annual maintenance on them. And the guy would come in every couple of months to do checks, right? They said, well, it's part of the contract. It's free. It's no charge for you. You already paid for it. And every contact we had with them, they would make some kind of an offer. Well, this condenser needs upgrading. Oh, well, this thing needs changing. This thing needs changing. And every time we'll be like, all right, fine. How much is it? Well, it's $250. And we're like, all right, let's fix it. Right? Every visit, there was something or the other they will point out that was wrong. And we were like paying them some kind of money. Right? At certain point, I got tired of this. I was like, dude, just replace the whole thing. I'm like tired of these like nickel and diming every single time. So I was like, how much is it? It's like, well, it's 12 grand for the whole system. I was like, all right, let's do it. Right? We did it. I was like, finally, next time that this guy shows up, I'm like tired of hearing offers. I mean, in a good way, like because he would like educate us why this needs an upgrade, right? So it's like, well, I'm tired of spending money. I'm tired of hearing new offers. It's a brand new product. I'm like finally free. I don't have to. He can just do the check-in and then go home, right? So next visit, after a brand new unit is installed, he comes in and he says, "Oh, perfect unit, everything working fine. By the way, would you like to install a UV filter on your duct?" I was like, "Oh my god, are you serious? Another offer? Like seriously, dude? I just spent 12 grand." He's like, "Well, you really need that filter, and then UV will kill the viruses." I was like, "Oh my god, I don't want to hear this," right? So the point is like the big companies are making massive, like they're the market leader in our area, right? They're making like, wouldn't be surprised if they're making like 50 million plus in revenue because there's like a massive team every time a new person comes in because it's such a huge company. Yeah, so the big companies have figured it out, right? You just another side example, car rental, right? You go to a car rental place, right? You rent a car, it's like $12 per day or like $15 per day. Then what do? Oh, would you like to upgrade to a bigger car? Would you like to get this premium insurance? Would you like a GPS? Would you like to prepay for gas? Would you like a ski rack? Would you like a baby seat? Like 20 offers, right? And you say no, yes, no, yes, no, right? Because people know, the big companies know this magic formula, goodwill times number of offers. So that's the reason I was suggesting, like, if we can brainstorm and think of creative ways of like offering more services, and you don't have to fulfill them, you can refer out, or you can do owner financing to buy a better product or service from you itself. That would definitely help in reaching your $10 million goal.
Yo, I absolutely agree. And that's something I think me personally, I probably do a pretty good job on. I think as we start to expand and have more sales people, that'll be definitely something that needs to be, I don't want to say pushed, but trained on.
Yeah.
Because I don't care if your landscape and your pool is perfect. There's always room for an upsell somewhere.
Exactly. And if you become large enough, I'm sure you have heard this, as you become large enough, the company is all about, you're in the hiring and training business, right? Because you cannot sell everything yourself. At some point, you'll have to replace yourself so you can free up your time to be the CEO, right? So you'll be in the hiring and training business, and that's when you like hit like real scale. But Chris, we are out of time. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If someone is interested in reaching out to you, learning more about the business or availing your services, tell us how they can reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. All social media platforms, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, it's GC Landscaping Inc. And me personally, best place is probably going to be Instagram. And that's Chris McManus 151. Shoot me a DM, any questions, anything I can do to help, happy to do it. Yeah, those are probably the two best spots to catch me.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris, one more time. Really appreciated the conversation. Hopefully we added some value for our audiences, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Abby.